This is just AMZN for Tuesday, December 10th, 2019. And we opened up right about at 1747, quickly broke down. Somewhat of a opposite open from yesterday, where we were opening really right at 1747 and ran. So today, breaking down, a little bit of retracement, started to roll over, and then it bounced. And so some folks that were going bearish here probably got stepped out. I was one of them. And this just really grinded lower all day long. There weren't great opportunities unless you were playing at the money with much more expensive options, and so being a little further out of the money gave you some trouble today. So like this candle was a nice bearish candle off of 1747. So was this one. Really the best opportunity later on in the day, or at least midday or mid-morning. No, not even midday. Mid-morning was this candle. So I wanted to look at this. Even if you got in bearish on this candle, or not that candle, on the candle after it. So here's this candle. Let's say you got in on this candle. This is the 1725 puts. Let's say you got in at 550 by 450. It went up to 650, and then that was about it until later in the afternoon, where it pushed a little bit higher and could have gotten out for 2R. But most of the time it was just an R. It was just kind of a scalping sort of day. You would have had to be a bit closer, like 1740. Let's see what's going on here. So this one, that candle came into 10 by 9. So that's pretty cool. Ran up to 12 pretty quickly. Still relatively flat. Moved around a little bit, gave you some opportunities at 1050 through here, and 11, 12. So, or no, not 12, 1150. So this just kind of crept higher, but you really need to be near the money or in the money to really have this work bearish. Now the 1750. What's interesting here is you can see the trend, the bullish uptrend that was followed all day long, and we put in a very similar low from yesterday's close, right? Right at kind of the high or the low point of this option, and back over here. So this price on the stock was similar to this price on the this price. This time on the option was very similarly priced to over here. So give you some opportunities, but you would have had been looking for that exact same price. And, we've been looking at the 1747 price instead of, one of these here. But anyway, this is kind of an inverted hammer. Needs to have a little bit longer wick or smaller body. And this is, I think, a hangman doji, because it's somewhat at a resistance, lower wick, and this really turned into a nice evening star reversal up here. So can't complain too much. It just pushed past 1747, where I didn't think it was going to, and then start to break down. So let's talk about where it broke down. If we take a step back, we're just looking at this bigger triangle here, and we've actually made lower low, lower high, seemingly breaking down. This is a really lackluster breakdown right here. It just kind of grinded lower. Like I said, just grinded lower all day long. And so really want to see some more consolidation here, maybe a retracement back to 1747 tomorrow, and then continuing to roll over if it's going to continue bearish. And this really looks like it's going to. We've got some similarities here. We had bullish candle, high wave candle, high wave upper wick, and then this kind of bearish breakdown. We did something similar to that here. We had a bit of a bullish candle. I would say you'd kind of merge these to have, these two candles, just the position, represent this one. Now the open and close don't necessarily represent this one. But then this smaller candle here breaking down below 1747 is what it looks like where we're at today. So if we get a retracement like this back up to 1747 tomorrow, it technically kind of sets the stage for doing another sort of rally. And if that were to happen, if we got a gap up, let's say above 1760, 1770, in that range, we'd be trapping a lot of bears up here if somehow we got up there, and it'd also be gapping above this downtrend line if we were to do that. It looks like it's getting ready to roll over, but it's been holding this next level 1727.80 for a while as well. Held that pretty well through here, ran right back up through it. We bounced over here. So, there was some interaction here. We actually pushed below. But, it could still it could go lower. It could bounce again like this. I don't expect a rally just like this unless maybe the overall market does something like that as well. That's totally possible too. So, anyway, we'll just keep watching on some smaller time frames to see how we can look back and figure out what would have worked and how we can look at another possible trade moving forward. I just jumped over to the calls. This is the 1750 calls. Didn't really do much. You would have really had to be buying that open low. Not that you would have known this was a low, but expecting some sort of retracement is reasonable. So maybe that could have been a nice scalp, getting in somewhere in here, like 11 by 10 and getting out at 12, or I guess even 13 if you did it with this option. So it's possible, but not necessarily what to be looking for. It went from 11 to 12 pretty quickly, but would have had to hold that bullish going up here to 13. And like I said, looking for this to be a little more bearish. This did form some sort of like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, and then kind of made a really long consolidation here, stair step. It didn't really have a clear neckline. It's even hard to just see it. Let me see if I can sketch it. But it's something like this. Something like that. Looks like a head and shoulder, then went sideways here, and then broke down. But again, you expect that to break down further if it was a strong head and shoulders. And it did eventually get down here, but it had a much longer consolidation and just grinding lower, like I said. So a little bit harder one to trade directionally and to really set some nice risk to reward. Let's see what happens on the 3 minute. The 3 minute gave some better opportunities today. Breakdown. That's a nice candle right there. High wave candle here. Breaking down. That would have been great to have a continuation lower. That didn't work. Breakout. Nice stair step here that broke down. Retracement right into that level. Almost into the high here. That's a really nice inverted hammer right there. If you would just trade off that candle, look, it made a higher high from the open, trapped a ton of bulls, more bulls here, bouncing. It was actually, decent volume, really decent volume here as well. Yep, that's the trap. That trapped a lot of people. So it makes sense that this would have been a good place to trap bulls and just to let it ride lower all day long. So, 3 minute was probably the way to go today with that candle, especially. So, 1747, not as relevant. It held okay through here, but it really needed to hold and push this lower. And instead, it let up, or at least that was the move that bears were allowing the bulls to get into, and then the bears came back in, and not with force or whatever, just kind of came back in and slowly trapped some of them out. So anyway, 3 minute, 5 minute, good time frames to look at and get a better idea, because you don't really see that at all here. You don't see a very clean inverted hammer on that 5 minute, but obviously on the 3 minute it looks amazing. A lot of consolidation today. You can see with all the squeezes here. Really more or less balanced day. I know we're making lower, we closed with the bearish candle, but a lot of alternating of bullish and bearish candles. So it was not very directional. You can see on days where we're moving directionally, that there's, if you kind of zoom your eyes out, there's much more bullish candles, up day, and then if we come back over here to one of these down days, many more bearish candles on these down days. And even this one had a lot of alternating of the candle colors. So it just seemed like today was a continuation of the downtrend that we got into yesterday. So we'll see if that sort of thing continues, or like I said, if we get a little bit of a bump up to 1747 and then a roll over from there. But again, we just keep bouncing around the 1747. It's almost like it's acting as a magnet, pulling any prices that get away from it, pulling it right back into it. A little bit away, pulls right back in. So we'll see how long this lasts. But if it's magnet, don't fight it. But be careful you're on the right side of these moves, and you can always take a bigger step back and look at kind of the bigger picture of what's going on here, and wait for some clear directional things like this move here last week, so or the week before last. So anyway, hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.